for those who maybe are looking to build community, lead with value. Most people want to sell something before they even offer anything to their community, and I think that's usually where the disconnect is.
Welcome to another episode of Converge Sessions, a podcast that tackles topics prevailing from the Converge conferences that we have every quarter. Today, we're going to be talking about, or we're building on the topic of the upcoming Converge 8 conference, which will be tackling digital growth strategies for SMEs. It's titled Scaling Smart. And we have an amazing guest who's going to guide us through our first conversation today. So just before I introduce the topic, let me introduce the guest. Anne, speak for yourself. Hey, what's up? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm super happy to be talking to you. Makes it so much easier.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, my name is Anne Muhia. I am an entrepreneur and also a digital creator. And I think this year I'm a digital entrepreneur as well. Mm-hmm. So this conversation will be interesting.
The topic for today is storytelling for growth. And essentially we're looking at how trust and community help small businesses grow in their journey. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of value I think you have there. Maybe just especially for the people who don't know you, if you can give us an idea of just your journey online, basically, how you built your brand over time. And as a question, when you started, were you specifically building your brand or did you just kind of figure it out as you went along?
So I joined the social space, way back when it was social media and we were poking each other online. But I would say my first attempt to sort of share my journey was back in 2016, and it was on Facebook. And back then, I remember I was turning 30, and I did 30 days to my 30th birthday, where I was sharing like the lessons I'm learning in entrepreneurship. This is in 2017. When did I turn 30? One of those 2 years. Mm-hmm. And basically it got zero traction. Not even my friends are following the series. And so I thought maybe that's a conversation that's not interesting online. And so I stopped. Why I even started it in the first place is because I had just gotten into entrepreneurship and I was experiencing entrepreneurship in a very, I was just going through challenges and I was seeking community. I was wondering if I was the problem or this is actually the journey that every other entrepreneur goes through. So that's why I was doing it. When I didn't get any traction, I left it. But then fast forward to towards the end of 2022, that itch remained where I'm like, is this how entrepreneurship generally is, or is it a me problem? And the more I spoke with other entrepreneurs, I realized actually there are a lot of similarities in the journey. And I remember thinking I should try again, but this time I picked because initially it was Facebook written. Now I tried out TikTok in video format. My first video was actually about employee theft, and I remember that's the challenge I was facing in my business, and I was stuck in traffic, and I was just like, okay, can I share this so that I can hear, if other entrepreneurs are going through the same, how they're tackling that specific challenge, etc. I didn't even overthink it. I just told the story and shared it, and it took off. For me, it took off because I was expecting, less than 100 sort of views, zero engagement, and it got to about 7,000 before the end of that day. So, and then I was like, oh, that's interesting. So this is a topic that more people are maybe relating to or now interested in. I don't know, or maybe I was more ready to tell the story. I don't know what changed between 2016 and 2022, but yeah. And so I started just sharing my journey as I went along.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a few things within your journey and within the content that kind of strike me as interesting. The first thing is just you've managed to, as much as possible, keep it very grounded and very close to your lived and learned experience, and then the lived and learned experience of your guests. But then second thing is, and I think I mentioned this to you the first time we talked, just the name, the idea of just unprepared to entrepreneur. The name alone, as an entrepreneur, struck me because I think it's a shared feeling. When you are seeking community, were you considering the brand when you're thinking about the community? Were you thinking, I want people who feel like this to come together?
So initially, I wasn't thinking of it as like I was building a brand or a community. I had not, to be honest, processed it that far along. I was seeking community. I was looking for buddies who were experiencing the same pain I was, the same challenges, who probably had solutions that I was seeking. So it was more of a for me, not for the audience. And I remember, I think I committed to just sharing a video once a week, every Thursday, which was not easy to do every Thursday, but I tried. I remember sometimes getting back home at 10 p.m. and I'm thinking it's still Thursday and a video must go out. So initially, no, I wasn't thinking of it like long now. Yeah, I was having fun with it, let me say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a specific inflection point or like a specific type of content that brought you to the realization that you're really connecting with your audience now?
Yes. When I started sharing my actual experiences with failure, right? Like my failed business ventures. And it wasn't, I must admit, it wasn't easy sharing those failures because like I remember one of the videos was about me venturing into Quail business when Quail was out. And I was afraid that, my audience would be like, that is so damn, this chick must be like, why would you do that?
Yeah, like, I might get that.
I
remember you told me that story and I was slightly judgy.
You did.
A little bit judgy.
Yes.
But
yes.
with good reason. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought people would judge me. And I remember at the time I was also like seeing a therapist. I had someone helping me unpack these thoughts. And we talked about it, and she encouraged me. She's like, just try and see where it goes.
Okay.
And apparently there are people who it wasn't just me. There are people out there who have made dumb decisions. Others have made smart decisions, but also even those smart decisions have led into failure. But yeah, I feel like I connected with the audience more when I started to share about my journey with failure and the lessons I'm picking as I go along.
What do you think? What do you think it is about your voice or your presence or the way you kind of told that story, or told the various stories that made your audience lean in and connect with you specifically?
Initially, I didn't know. I was like, what about this video is so interesting? Yeah. And so I started asking, because you could assume, you can assume, and maybe your assumption is wrong. So I started asking those who would engage me, like in the DMs, I started asking them about, like what stands out in my content. And most of them say it's relatability, where I'm not coming on there packaged as perfect or know it all. I'm going through the journey and I'm sharing the lessons, the wins as I sort of like go along, and they kind of relate to it. And especially because it's about entrepreneurship, I feel like any entrepreneur who comes across my platform sort of feels like the thing I was sort of seeking out, where this actually kind of how the journey sort of goes. Yeah,
I've seen this as well in your comments. Just people, you share your story, and then the comment section is just a bunch of people almost seeking group therapy. It's people coming in and connecting even more. So there's an extent to which you've built storytelling that connects, but at the same time, on the flip side of that, you've also managed to get people to invest in your journey because you've been able to have, workshops and get people to sign up and pay. You had the ebook, which required, but still, people have paid for this. You managed to have content that connects, and then also content that converts. What do you think, especially for small businesses coming in, entrepreneurs trying to figure it out, what is the difference between those two things in your approach, in your assessment? What have you seen as the difference between connecting and converting using content?
I feel like the content that converts speaks to the heart.
Okay.
I would say. So like say the content that's more relatable, it speaks like you feel connected to that person because you're sort of like walking a similar journey. The content that converts is content that speaks to a certain need. Right?
Okay.
And I know there are many people who struggle with, okay, which one should I do? I feel like anyone who's seeking to build online should start with connection first, then seek conversion. But if you can find a place where the two meet, I feel like that's where the magic happens, where you're able to connect and convert. And not just convert and deliver, because I feel there are also many creators out there who are able to connect and convert, but they don't deliver, which then beats the whole purpose of why you're building a brand online.
Yeah, because there is an extent to which that delivery part is a second re-engagement in that connection.
Correct. Yes. Yes. You create an opportunity to convert more in future, sort of like a lifetime value of that audience. Yeah.
You've touched on this in terms of its effectiveness, but has vulnerability online helped unlock opportunities for you that you didn't expect?
That was a tough one because I think when I was starting out, I decided I'm gonna be intentional about building my brand online. I had to sit down with myself and be very clear about the things I am okay being vulnerable about, because I wasn't looking at it like, I'm opening my entire life to, and pouring it out on social media. And entrepreneurship was one sort of like segment in my life that I was okay to share as much as possible. I can tell any story as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. But also that includes very vulnerable moments where, let's say, I have either failed or I failed my business, or I'm in a situation because of my own doing, and that's the story I'm sharing. So it is vulnerable, but it has created connection with other people who are experiencing the same thing, I would say. So I feel like when you're looking at vulnerability, you just need to ask yourself if you're okay sharing certain parts of you, and then just go all in, because I almost feel like the audience can tell when you're faking it.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to decide, do I want to be vulnerable or not? And if you do, it creates community. I believe that's what builds community.
Because I think there's something you've touched on there, which is very true. The idea behind authenticity as a driver for community is actually rooted in there's data and science and reports about this, right? So one of the things, even on TikTok, every time you listen to people from TikTok telling you what would work on the platform, one of the things they say is it has to be authentic. It has to be true to who you are, what you do, what you believe in. Otherwise, it's just not going to connect. So for the business owners, especially the ones who are getting started, one, what does building community actually look like? And how does storytelling help with that? Thinking through like the various journeys you've been through, where do you see the storytelling touching on the community? Well, your stories are many. Some from like butcheries to fintech to
yes, they're only
quailing.
the bad idea.
Yeah. Some good, some bad, some...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at the point, initially, like I said, it was just me sharing my experience and hoping I can find friends who we can journey together. But as that grew, I started to understand that for me to now, when I became intentional with it, for me to build a community that is tight knit, right? Because there are communities that, and are not, I don't know how to explain that further, but I wanted some depth.
Deeply connected.
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted some depth with the community. And so I felt like I needed to be intentional about how I show up and the value I bring to that community. And I actually picked this from another creator who used to do sort of like lives on their channel, and I literally watched them build a community around those lives. And so I decided I'll be doing TikTok lives where we will meet. Sometimes I'll have a guest who's an expert at a certain subject. Sometimes it's just me, and we tackle certain subjects. And as I went along, I've now sort of built regulars, people who know every Friday at 8:30 p.m. We congregate on my live, and this is the topic for today. And they run for about an hour and a half. So we start at 8:30, close at around 10:15. Sometimes there's spillover. But it's because of the value that they find in those conversations. That's what keeps them coming sort of back. So I would say for those who maybe are looking to build community, lead with value. Most people want to sell something before they even offer anything to their community. And I think that's usually where the disconnect is.
That's true. I think that's an amazing insight. The other thing I've realized, just to add to that, is community also happens when you allow people to connect with each other and not just with you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because like one of the most, I think, amazing things of your space is people come to their lives and then greet each other, which is just...
Yeah, you meet friends in the comment section.
Yeah.
Yes. The same happens even in the videos on TikTok. You find sub conversations, not related to the main piece of content. And I'm also quite intentional in terms of like, especially in the DMs. If you DM me, I will most definitely respond. And I find most people ask, is this Anne or is this Anne's assistant? Just to confirm they're speaking to me. And I think maybe the expectation is there's someone else behind the scenes having those conversations. But I feel like they appreciate that I'm taking the time to respond or answer any question that they might have. Okay. And I feel like that also is another level of building a community, engaging with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Building that connection. And that's good. Like being intentional about having that one-on-one and making sure it's like an authentic, a real, everybody's buying into this and everyone sees this as something valuable. Let's shift to something which I'm sure you're very familiar with. You talked about this even as you're talking about how difficult it was in the beginning, just going the first day posts are loaded. The pressure to post, you get home, it's 11 p.m., it's still Thursday. You still have a post. I think a lot of small businesses have hit that point where they're aware that they need to publish. But sometimes that pressure turns into negative energy rather than pushing you to publish. It's pushing you to almost be paralyzed. Yeah, it's almost stopping you.
Yeah.
And then within that, there's also the area where a lot of them don't know what to say. And they don't know how to say it like in an authentic way. So what are some simple and effective ways that business owners can create stories and tell their communities, build their communities without it feeling forced, without it feeling faked, without it coming with that pressure? So they're able to just do this consistently.
That's a really nice question. I even forgot to mention something when we were starting. I started creating on TikTok for two reasons. one, I wanted to find community, but the second one was I wanted to become a more confident speaker, public speaker. And I could not speak in public. My voice would shake, and it would just be a disaster, a complete disaster. I couldn't. It put me in a room with 10 strangers, and I'm not able to speak. Not because I don't know what I need to say or want to say, but I don't know the nerves, the anxiety, and all of that. So as I was researching, and I'm like, I perceive myself as a confident person. What is this thing, that I'm not able to speak in public? And as I was researching on it, one of the recommendations was to record yourself in front of a camera or practice in front of a mirror, and then do it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I think I can marry this to where I am speaking in front of the camera and I'm saying, whatever it is that I'm saying, and I can talk about business. So I used to use CapCut to cut the
arms,
ends.
The filler words.
The filler words. I had so many. If you go back to my old videos, So as I went along, they became less and less. So I think we want to wait until when we are ready and perfect to start, but you get better by practice. I would say that's number one. Number two, I struggled. I still struggle with consistency, but I think I no longer struggle with what to post. Initially, I used to overthink it because you think you need to deliver. I don't know. Your mind plays tricks on you. You feel like you need to deliver, I don't know, like a keynote speech in 30 seconds.
Yeah. You have to, everything has to be a masterpiece.
Yes, it feels like you need it to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But it's really, really, I realize it's really, really simple. It's basically, as a business owner, it's literally the conversations you have with your customers at your place of work, wherever you have them. Think of your frequently asked questions, and the next video is literally you answering that question. Think of maybe the problem you're solving with your product, and your next video is highlighting not your entire product in one video, just one element of how you solve that particular problem. So I think when you start to simplify that, it became a lot more palatable and a lot more easier. For you now to start executing on the content. Yeah,
I think that's a really good insight, because usually the lack of introspection kind of leads to overthinking. So what I mean here is you start trying to guess what everybody in the audience wants to hear from you, instead of thinking, what do I want to talk about? Like you say, breaking it down into smaller pieces, and your FAQs, part of it comes from you have these conversations every day anyway.
Yes.
So what are your conversations? Because your conversations, as someone running a small supermarket and someone else running a small supermarket, one person talks a lot about the economy because that's where their passion is. Another person talks a lot about customer service. That's where their passion is. One is just logistics and optimization. Another one might be technology, but you're all still businesses. Generally
same subject, I would say.
Yeah. Because then you get an opportunity to showcase your story, your vision, your kind of understanding of your space.
Correct.
Okay. That's a really nice one. So I want to jump to the last one. I think this was the one I want to hear your answer. I also want to hear your answer. I'll give mine afterwards. If you had to give one piece of advice to a business owner who wants to use storytelling to grow but doesn't know where to start, what would it be?
Doesn't know where to start.
One piece of advice.
This one is an interesting one, because I could say many things, but now you've decided just one.
I talk three if you're hesitant.
Okay. So maybe the reason you don't know where to start is because you haven't quite yet understood the value of building a personal brand online. If you did, you would. Now, let me give my own personal story. I think that a couple of you know that I've been running a software company for about maybe 7 years. And basically I was automating processes for small and medium enterprises. Now, the sales cycle of that business were, oh my God, they were terrible. You could be following up a lead for 3 years, and even getting the lead, you're either doing ads or you're knocking door to door. And I've done a lot of door-to-door knocking, and I have now I'm more intentional in terms of growing a personal brand online. And I can tell you this is easier, simpler. Today, I get leads coming to me without me having to leave my office. That is how powerful a personal brand is. It'll just do all the heavy lifting for you. And you'll be able to connect with your customers. So by the time they're coming to you, they're actually ready. You're not following up for 3 years trying to close a lead. They will get to you when they are ready. And if you do it, if you build it with intention, the brand closes the deals for you. You just come and you're like, when can we start? Yeah. So if someone is struggling and wondering where to start by first understanding, what does this mean for my business? When you answer that, we'll find a way. Yeah.
Okay. So my answer would be tied to that as well. I think it's a layer above that, because I mentioned this to you earlier, but I'm a big believer in you have to learn to earn. So you have to be able to kind of get as much information, insights out of whatever it is you're getting into to be able to get the value out of it. And just taking the time, I think that's one of the things I really appreciated, even as we were talking months ago. Your eagerness to understand where the opportunities actually are, what can actually be improved upon, deep diving into what this looks like. And it's continuous, because you learn some things, you implement immediately, you go learn some more things. In general, I think with small businesses that have succeeded online, this seems to be the repetitive pattern, that people who put the work into getting the insights are able to get the output that they desire.
Yeah.
Going in blind is how you end up. Sometimes you might be lucky. You can't rule out luck. Business sometimes is very funny. We can both dig and plant at the same time, and then it rains on your side and not mine.
Correct.
There are things that are out of our power. But at the same time, one of the things that I think social media has done, and spaces where strategy exists and plans exist, is that there's an equalizer of knowledge. Where if you know you're doing the right thing and you keep doing it, same way as if you keep planting seeds, you have to look at content creation a little bit like farming, where it's not architecture. It's not like you draw a plan and then they'll emerge.
It's not linear.
It is plant as many seeds as you can, have as many animals as you can, and you will yield from the farm, not from the seed.
Yeah.
You'll yield from everything you put out there, not from the one thing. And I think you did that well, because you had a lot of things, you learned about a bunch of things, and then you tried all of them and were able to kind of maximize on all of them. So, yeah.
I think that's a good addition. So the motivation is you understanding what value the personal brand asset is to your business, right? And then now you learn about it, and then the more you learn, the more you earn, which is kind of, time. And the learning never stops.
100%. And to that end, just as a plug, we do have a conference specifically on how to scale smart and digital strategies for business growth, tailored for SMEs. So if you are interested in learning more and earning more from what you do online, we'd be super happy to host you there. It is happening in August on the 29th. Please follow us online for more details. Please sign up on the links around this, wherever they may appear. And we will have other webinars and other conversations going on. So join those as well. Get as much insight as you can. Ask questions, and we'll be somewhere in the comments trying to respond. And do you have any parting shots?
I'm thinking maybe I add a second one now that you give me only one.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
So the second one, I would say if you don't know where to start by surrounding yourself with people who are on a similar journey as you. So, like Said is saying, the conversations that are happening around digital entrepreneurship. I think Converge hosts a couple of sessions. There are other creators who you can clearly see they are on a similar journey as yourself. There are other business owners who you can clearly see are on a similar journey. Start interacting with them. I feel like there's a lot you can learn from peer-to-peer sort of mentorship as you journey together. Build your own community, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
100%. I co-sign that heavily. And yeah, Converge is 100% a community. I think we've also gotten to a place where there are people who came for the first one who are still coming for the eighth one. And, there is a lot of connection and value that comes from people connecting in those spaces. So 100%.
I'm about to join Converge. It'll be my first one. Actually.
This will be yours?
So, yeah.
Oh, you weren't there for the last one.
Yeah. I don't know how. Irene did not invite me.
Yeah.
So I'll be there for the next time. I'm joining the community.
Join. I think it's a wonderful community, and thank you to everybody who supports us and views and, does all these things and contributes in every single way to make these things possible. Thank you to our fantastic guest for being here. Thank you for passing with us, and to the team behind this who stand behind the cameras very quietly so that it looks like we're here alone. So I'll see you all. Please follow us on the handles. I'm assuming they'll be graphicked in somewhere here. So just follow us there. And we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.